Okay. Hey, everyone. Happy Sunday. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I know it's the weekend, so I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Very excited to see so many lovely names and faces. Disclaimer, I will be recording this. So if you're watching this live with us now and you're worried about taking notes or whatever, this will be accessible afterwards. I'll be uploading this to our YouTube and then sending you this link along with the program sign-up link afterwards. So I'm going to do about like a 10-minute spiel where I'm going to go through all this information, and then at the end we'll leave time for questions, so you can either put it in the chat as things come up and I can answer at the end, or afterwards if you just want to raise your hand or whatever in chat. So bear with me as I throw a bunch of information at y'all, and then we can talk more afterwards. So for starters, who am I? What is this project? What is all this going on? Why do I feel qualified to kind of speak on this? For those who aren't familiar, I'm Sophie. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of the Luna Collective. I started Luna when I was 19, almost 5 years ago, and I literally knew nothing about editorial magazine world to everything in between. So I've learned a lot, obviously, over the years. We're coming up on our 5-year anniversary and we're working on our 20th issue of the magazine. So we do editorial magazines to other print projects like coffee table books, zines, to events, to online content. So we do a lot. I've learned a lot. And as much as I've had some help over the years, I also had to pretty much teach myself everything. And I'm really grateful for that. But there are definitely times where I wish that I had some sort of mentor or place to go to for questions and stuff. So that's kind of why I came up with this idea. I'd say the past few years, I've definitely had a lot of people reach out asking for help from how to make a magazine to doing the print side of things. And I just want to be able to continue to be a resource for that. And this was kind of a little bit more formal way of me addressing some of those questions rather than just like replying to the DMs, which is totally cool. So that's kind of where we're at. And that's why I came up with the idea of this publishing program. And throughout this course, I'll be kind of taking you through the steps of developing a print project, everything from figuring out the design to copy, to having the promotional assets, to actually making the print version of it. Throughout me talking right now, I'll probably switch between saying print project and book. You could be doing a photo book, you could be doing a poetry book, you could be doing a graphic, like literally in between. I just might keep referencing it as book, whatever, but it can be whatever form of print project you want. You'll also have the opportunity to have your project published through the Luna store if interested. And ultimately, I just want to spotlight how accessible print projects can be. I feel like it's a very common belief that print is dead and it's impossible to do print stuff, but it's not. I love doing print. I do a lot of print projects, both through Luna and through my personal life, because I feel like nothing beats having like a tangible item of your stuff. So by the end of this course, you will have made your own print project and then know how to go make a bunch more. So woohoo. Now I'm just going to go through quickly what kind of each week will look like, so you have a sense of what we'll be covering. Oh, no. Why are we going back? Okay, so first week, we're going to be going over the process of what it takes to put a book together, some sort of print project together, and then we'll start brainstorming the idea. And this is something, if you are interested in this course, you can start thinking now. Your project can be anything from a theme to a time frame in your life. For example, we've done themes around a certain word or concept like sonder or love, or a specific time frame, like this was this fall season of my life, or this was this transition time in my life. I'll keep emphasizing this throughout now in the course. This will be a course where at the end you will have made this project. So just being realistic about your time frame for coming up with your idea. Maybe you come up with a really cool idea, but it's not something you're going to be able to do in the 9 weeks. That's totally okay, because through this project, you're going to be learning how to do it. So you can do that later on. So just something to keep in mind when you start scheming. Is it going to be realistic to do in the upcoming 9 weeks? By week 2, we're going to be talking about themes with one another, offering feedback, and then essentially making a kind of like course roadmap for yourself, and what you need to do to get the project going and made. If you're doing a photo book and it's a new concept where you're going to be having to do a bunch of shoots, kind of mapping out that end of things. If you're using material that you already have, kind of like what your selection process is going to be like. And once again, being realistic with that timeline. Week 3 is going to be a check-in on progress. This will be optional to me as a group, but you can come in and we can come on the virtual chat and talk about where you're at with progress, offering feedback. Essentially, it's going to be like an accountability session. I think with all of this, it's easy to think like, cool, I'll come up with this idea and then like make this book, but it's probably a reason why a lot of us haven't done that before. So this will serve as like kind of an accountability week. Then we enter grind time. By week 4, we're going to be checking on the progress of kind of your assets and where you're at with that. And then we'll start talking about copy and doing an intro into design. I personally use like a lot of the Adobe products. That's not a requirement at all. I also use Canva. Canva fucking slays. Free Canva slays. So if you're interested in this course, but you don't have any of those programs, like do not fear. I'm queen of DIY. Luna's still very DIY in many ways. So no worries there. Week 5, similar to kind of week 3, we're just checking in on everything, but also making sure that all of the kind of pieces of the puzzle will be due by the following week. So your photos, your words, all that jazz. And then week 7, we'll make those selects, start figuring out kind of the length of what it's going to look like, and then do a deep dive on design. Once again, if you're like, I'm not a graphic designer, like, how am I going to do this? I still struggle to call myself a graphic designer, even though I've designed like countless spreads and print projects. You don't need to be the most amazing graphic designer to design your work. It's actually a really fun way to figure out like your vision and to hone in on what you like is doing it yourself and like finding references. So once again, if you're like, I literally am not a designer, that's fine. I got you. I'll be kind of doing like a crash course on print design. Then at the end, kind of putting it all together, you'll be finalizing design, and then we'll talk about the actual like physical print process and like any specifications for sending to the printer and how that works. And then by that week 8, you're sending it to the printer, and then we're setting up, kind of talking about like how you would sell print copies and setting up launch, kind of like promotional assets. And then by week 9, you will have everything together, which is crazy. It seems like a very quick time frame, but it's doable. And I'm going to keep emphasizing it, whatever idea you might do, because this is kind of like your intro course. Don't be afraid to do something more simple and like leave your crazy idea for the next step. So your takeaway by the end of this course, you'll kind of have a knowledge of creating the print project, like step 1 through 100, basic understanding of print design and print logistics, and a published book, which is super cool. Last kind of additional info, schedule. We'll be meeting once a week. It could be anywhere from like 20, 30-ish minutes. I don't want to be just like talking at you for like an hour. But then at the end, we'll always allow time to meet individually to talk through your individual project. If you're someone that's thinking, I don't know if I can commit to like a regular, like once a week check-in, that's totally okay. Like we can find a time to meet up on our own or just check in virtually. Don't worry about that. We have it currently set that we'll be meeting on Mondays, 4 p.m. Pacific time. But when I send out this little sign up form afterwards, it's going to include like what times work best for you. And if a bunch of you are like, actually Wednesdays at this time works better, we'll move it to then. So don't worry about your schedule, or if you're like international or something like that, like the time doesn't work. Don't worry. It's not, you don't need to be coming like live each week. Just making sure that you're like setting aside time for this each week is more so what I care about. Like I keep saying, timeline, you're expected to have completed your print project by the end of that 9 weeks. Pricing, obviously I'm not in it for money. If you guys are familiar with any of Luna products, you know, we like barely mark up prices. So it is a sliding scale with a suggested of 25 minimum. You know, it is a 9-week project or course. I am trying to put a lot of effort into this, but I also want this to be accessible. Like that's ultimately what's most important to me. I want to share this information. So if that's an issue, don't worry. When you sign up for the course, the like donation link is after you sign up. So do whatever works best for you. And then not included is kind of the production cost, because that's really going to vary. If you are someone that is using assets that you already have, like you're doing a photo journal, obviously you're not having to like make additional content. But if you're coming up with this new concept and it's going to require you to rent a studio or whatever, like that's its own thing. And then the price of like having your own single print project itself, and that will obviously depend on how many pages, but that could be anywhere from like 15 to 35 bucks. That's not like a breaking the bank situation, but just something to keep in mind. And then the last bit of information, totally optional, but if you are interested in having us publish your book, where we would be promoting you in the store, help promoting all of that, and then take some sort of small cut, we would totally figure out what makes sense once again, not here for the money. Why would we be an editorial if we were? So we'll have an opportunity to discuss that arrangement. What would that look like? And if you're wanting extra help with kind of like design or any of that, like the whole point is I will be here to help you with like literally anything you want in order to get your idea, your dream, your concept to be a physical thing. So that's my spiel. Like I said, we're scheduled to start next Monday, but totally subject to change on what is best for everyone. If it doesn't make sense for you to be meeting once a week live with us anyway, that's totally okay. Probably what we'll do is we'll set up kind of a Slack group chat or something, or just communicate on email, whatever's best for everyone, just as long as you're checking in every week. I will be recording the lectures each week. I will be sending you the decks each week so you can do it on your own time, but making sure that you're actually making progress, because I don't want it to be like week 7 and you're like, actually, I haven't done anything yet. So we love accountability. That's my spiel. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. Open to literally any questions that anyone has. You can put it in the chat. You can raise your hand. I'm going to stop recording this so that this part won't be recorded.